Hi there everyone, and welcome to this week's Totem Tuesday. Hope you've had a good week, and yes, this one is actually coming out on Tuesday this week. This week I chose an animal, a creature, that was inspired by a drum journey I did at the weekend. Now, I was really honoured and grateful to be able to teach this lovely group of people to get in contact with their power animals over the weekend. So it was a beautiful workshop, and while holding the space, while drumming a journey for them, I got a vision of a great white shark, and it's something that came up earlier in a meditation as well, and it's something that I've been thinking about for the last week or so. Like, I've seen on TV people kind of going into those cages in the sea and observing the great white, and I've been thinking, I want to do that. So it's something that's kind of been in my consciousness, floating around, circling around for the last 2 or 3 weeks. And then with this visualization and with this meditation, suddenly with the full power of a great white shark kind of just splashed into my consciousness, and I was like, right, okay, this is one you've got to listen to. This is not something that comes up for just chilling out and having a relaxing day. This has got a very strong message. So of course I went home and I researched that message, and I looked, first of all, to be fair, I asked the shark in the visualization, in the meditation, in the journey, what they were representing for me, what I had to face, what I had to challenge. I observed in the meditation the movements and the motion and the attitude of the shark to see what I could learn from that. So there's the first thing. There's my cobweb moaning away there. There's the first thing to look at within meditations is that sometimes it's not, it's good to read the books. It's always interesting to read the books. I know people have got a lot of verification from reading the books, knowing that what they've seen has been relevant for them. But in this case, I first wanted to ask the shark, or experience what the energy of the shark was trying to show me. So this is, the first thing I got was kind of in just visualization, was just, hello, this is a strong, strong energy that's coming from your subconscious, it's coming from the deeps, from the oceans, that's asking you to face a situation and focus on it and go for it. There's an element I felt as well of facing your fears. Humans have obviously a fear of sharks up to a point. Some of it's irrational, some of it is, the shark reminds you that, we are prey, we are not just predators in the world, and we don't like to be shown that, do we? We kind of are very comfortable in our top seat in the house of the world. I'm predator, I don't need to be prey. And then to be reminded, you go into the oceans and you see a shark fin appearing and going down under the sea, that primal fear kicks in. And I've got a lovely friend who said that, she lives in Australia, and she swims she swims out into the ocean, she's surfing, and she sees dolphins in the water, and you get this beautiful feel of joy and happiness. You see a shark fin, as I said, going under the waves, you get out the water. There's a change of energy. There's a cool, right, this is not a place for me, I'm in their territory. So that was just, that's the feeling that I got from looking at it. But in the meditation, it wasn't like get out of the water. It was, okay, deal with this situation. This is a situation not to run away from. There's things that maybe you've been not facing, and the shark is showing you. It showed great power, actually. If you face your fears, you can attain great power. I didn't feel scared in the meditation at all, of course not. I just felt wowed at the immensity and the ferocity and the power of the great white shark. So yeah, I went, and I don't know too much about sharks, really. I know that they're hunted for medicine, and I'll come on to that in just a second. But what I've learnt about looking into sharks is a couple of things I didn't know. Probably things that most of you guys know, because if you know anything about sharks, then you'll know this. But they don't have a swimming bladder like most fish. Sharks are fish. And so, fish, they can kind of chill out, they can sit still, but a shark, if a shark stops, the majority of sharks, if they stop, they will sink. So they don't have a swim bladder, which means they must keep on moving, perpetual motion to survive. And that was really, really interesting. So keeping moving, don't stop, this is not a time for waiting around, this is not a time for chilling out, it's a time to seize the day and a time to keep moving and keep acting. So people with shark as a totem could often be seen as workaholics. They don't stop, they keep going, but not in a negative sense of being a workaholic, in a sense that these people really thrive being really busy. These people thrive by being on it all the time. So when I'm looking at a shark totem, it's a call to action. It's a call to, you got to go, you got to keep moving. The primal instinct of a shark. I mean, they have been around for millions of years, and they haven't really evolved much in that time. The way they work is absolutely fine, and I think that for us to see that really reminds us of primal energies, really reminds us of the past and where we came from. The words that you often see when you look about shark totem is instincts, primal instincts, and it's true. They don't sit around and go, maybe I should do that, or maybe I should do that. They go. If they get the sense that it's time to go and to charge, to hunt, then they will charge and they will hunt, and they're amazing predators. If you've seen documentaries of particularly a great white shark hunting, it's so fast, it's so accurate, and it's so deadly. They hunt through primal instinct, but they also hunt through, it's been shown they hunt through experience as well. They learn what the right thing to do is, and they learn where to go. So for us who are working with shark as a totem or as a messenger at the moment, they're showing you in no fluffy terms to follow that gut instinct. Use that gut. I read some of the gut rudder, I like that, to kind of guide you. If you feel it, learn to know it, learn to trust it. There's no point having all these amazing instincts in our lives if we just go, oh yeah, I had that instinct, anyway. No, if you have that instinct, learn to trust it, learn to work with it, learn to go with it. Sharks, of course, have all the senses that are very, very strong, particularly their sense of smell. So a sense of smell and discernment through that is very important with shark totem. They can smell the faintest drop of blood from a long way away. I think we all learnt that from watching Jaws in in the 80s. Now, a side note, I'm a child of the 80s and of course was brought up on watching Jaws movies, and what a shame that the great white has been so hunted and hated because of those films, because great whites don't actually hunt people. They're not going to want to eat people. They don't eat people. If they attack them, it's by mistake usually, because they think you're something else in the water. And yes, there's some horrific attacks, but they're not hunting you. You're in their territory. They've mistaken you for something they eat, and then they attack. They don't hunt out people like in the film. And what a shame that people have got such a negative feeling about sharks because of a movie. And it kind of, because that hatred's grown and they don't understand sharks, while this hunting for their fins and hunting for their cartilage has been happening, people are like, oh yeah, hunt them because we're scared of them and we don't want to, think about them. And it's a very shame, because they're amazing creatures, and again, they're being hunted at a ridiculous rate, and some sharks are becoming close to very endangered. Anyway, I'll come back to the medicine in a little bit, actually, not long, but I was talking about their instincts. Great sense of sound as well, underwater hearing. The energy of the shark is survival, so they are the survivors. They will teach you, if you have a shark as a totem, to be a survivor and the master of surviving. They're focused as well, and maybe this is something that would come up for you in your life if you're working with shark totem, is that if a shark comes your way, not in the sea, but in meditation, a dream, a visualization, that it is time to focus without fault on your goal. You can achieve the impossible if you put your energy and focus towards it right now. So the seemingly impossible. So there's I think, because the sharks are kind of streamlined, they're aerodynamic, they're efficient, they're great predators, we kind of see them as cold, which they're cold-blooded, they're fish, and we might see that kind of steely side to them, but they're also very sensitive beings. So that's something to really look at with shark energy. They pick up on the waves, the sounds, whatever's going on inwardly with them, they're able to contain with a cool exterior. And people with shark totem, that's something, the most amazing thing that they can work with, to be a master of emotions, not to be detached emotionally, which people might think about sharks. They're cold, it's a cold and nasty kind of feeling. No, they're master of emotions. They're in the water, they're in the deeps. Anyone wants to use water as an element, it's about the dream self, it's about the unconscious, the subconscious, the emotions, the sexuality, the feelings, the divine mother, where we all, this is some of the words that we can think of with water. They come from a place of deep emotion, and sometimes when you're in the water of emotion you can feel very overwhelmed, and if a shark comes through with that cool sleek, here I go, you go, oh, maybe I don't have to be overwhelmed by these emotions. Maybe I can be the master of them, and maybe I can get to where I want to be without becoming completely overwhelmed. So I feel that's a very important medicine and lesson that shark can teach us, to be in the waters of emotion, but able to not be consumed by them. So let's have a look else what we've got here. I want to get some more facts about them. Oh yeah, I was talking about a second ago. They've got a skeleton, but it's made of cartilage and not bone. And this cartilage is being eaten for remedies and medicines to cure. It's a bit of a cure-all. I think in Chinese medicine, it's a bit of a cure-all. And the thing is, what I feel is that you can get the medicine from attuning to shark energy, not by having to eat a shark, by kind of mass hunting them and causing great pain, misery, and close to extinction of some species. You're not really helping yourself or helping the world. But by attuning to shark energy, their sense of not being eaten up by their emotions, their sense of not being... they don't have cancer, sharks, so that's maybe one reason why people want to kind of consume the energy of shark. They don't have cancer in their system. But to learn their lesson can maybe teach us and help us and guide us a lot more than by eating their cartilage. So, they've been... millions of years, hardly evolved or changed at all, because they're killing machines. They work. It all works. They've honed their senses. They've honed their abilities to hunt. They don't need to change. They have 5 to 7 rows of gills, and they have rows of sharp and replaceable teeth as well. Actually, I was looking at something else we could look at. I didn't find too many myths about the shark out there, so I would love, if you guys know any myths or folklore about sharks, I would really, really like to hear them, actually. I've got a lot here that I found out, which is about how that medicine of shark can help people. It can kick your backside and tell you, come on, face things, get on with it. You're being lazy, you've got to focus, you've got to do it. They can come in and say, use your senses, use your intuition, your smell, your gut reaction to people is going to be right, so use that sense of discernment. They can teach us about lessons of fear, lessons of death, and death as a sense of renewal, not death as an ending. So something I read about sharks, now I don't quite know where that came from, but I quite like the energy that sharks, what I read was sharks don't know death as the end, they know it as renewal. So it's something that we kind of know in a pagan and spiritual sense, but it's interesting to look at why sharks' energy would be that. And something else I was looking at as well is that apparently sharks put out the energy that I am not hunting right now, I am chilled, and that fish will gather around them. They set their intent, they send messages out, subliminal messages, or not subliminal, that's silly, but they send energy messages out there saying, I'm chilled, I'm not hunting at the moment, relax, you can come around, it's fine. And the fish will actually gather around them. Some will actually clean the sharks for them as well. And then they put out the message, another point, right, I'm in predator mode, and the fish react exceptionally differently. So that's really interesting, and so that they're not always being greedy, they're not always trying to get their way. They can be like, I'm relaxed now, it's fine, you can come near me, and switch at the time when they need to. And that could be a really interesting lesson for people working with shark. If you're in a bad mood, if you're going to snap and you're not in a good place, then put those signals out there. Leave me alone. It's safer for you guys this way. And when it's fine, when you're in a good mood again, or when things are okay, to set out different signals, set out boundaries, to let people know, saving them from getting in your way when they don't need to. That could be something you could work with as well. So the energy of shark is no fluff here. We're going straight to it. There's a steely, cool, aloof way of dealing with things, but sometimes that is so needed. It doesn't mean you're free of emotions, as I mentioned. It just means that you're mastering them, you're controlling them, and that makes people with shark as a totem great business people, great leaders, and great people to start up a new vision to encourage people. So I think that's all I've got for now. I probably have got more, but I think that's all oh, there's another page here. Well, I think it's mostly repeated what I've already said, actually. Trusting instincts, I've read that quite a lot of times with and I think actually one thing I have missed a little bit is that a shark can come into your life, as I mentioned about fears and stuff, but also to help you deal with your shadow self, your darker side, or whatever, the inner predator with you. in this modern society, we're all very nice, aren't we? And we don't say things that we should say, or we don't express as our personality. They're hidden, and that when they're hidden, it doesn't really get to be that healthy. So the shark can come through and help you face that side of yourself, the shadow side, the inner predator, the inner or whatever really, but the side of yourself that you don't want to look at so much, and they help us reconcile those sides to us. Because the shark never stops, as I mentioned earlier, they're journey makers, they're travellers, they're people, they are creatures that keep going, and they inspire us that, you know, not stop, come on, keep going. Things may not seem easy, but I can show you how to get through them. So thank you very much for watching. Again, I would like to hear any shark tales that you have. As I said, I wasn't too successful in finding myths and legends about this creature this week, so if you do know of any, do let me know. Have a lovely week, everybody, and I'll see you next time. Bye.